Have you ever left the doctor's office with a new prescription and wondered, is this really the best choice for me? Maybe you've even tucked that little bottle into your medicine cabinet, hesitated, and thought, I'll just take it for now, but what if it's doing more harm than good? You're not alone. Many of us over 60 have been there. Our bodies change as we age, and sometimes, medications that worked perfectly fine years ago can become risky partners in our health journey. The good news? With a little knowledge, you can take charge of your well-being and make safer choices. That's why today, we're talking about 7 medications seniors over 65 should avoid, and the alternatives that can help you stay vibrant, healthy, and in control. Now, before we dive in, let me be clear, never stop a medication without talking to your doctor. This isn't about fear, it's about starting a conversation. Think of it like checking the weather before a walk. A little preparation helps you avoid surprises down the road. Ready? Let's begin with the first medication you might want to discuss with your healthcare team. Medication number 1, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen or naproxen. Let's start with something many of us reach for without a second thought, over-the-counter painkillers like ibuprofen or naproxen. You know the ones, they're great for tackling that stubborn backache or knee pain after gardening. But here's the catch, these NSAIDs, as they're called, can be rough on a senior's body. They've been linked to stomach ulcers, higher blood pressure, and even kidney damage over time. And if you're taking blood thinners or steroids, the risks climb even higher. Take my friend Margie, for example. She'd been popping ibuprofen daily for her arthritis, thinking it was harmless. But after a few months, she ended up in the hospital with a bleeding stomach. Scary, right? Now, I'm not saying never use these. Occasional, short-term use is okay for most folks. But if you're relying on them week after week, there's a better way. First, ask your doctor about acetaminophen, that's Tylenol, for everyday pain. It's gentler on the stomach. Second, consider topical creams with menthol or capsaicin. They work right where it hurts, without the systemic risks. And third, this one's my favorite, try gentle movement. Water aerobics or Tai Chi can ease joint stiffness and boost your mood. It's a win-win. Medication number 2, Benzodiazepines, like Valium or Xanax. Now, let's talk about something many of us were prescribed decades ago for sleep or anxiety, medications like Valium, Xanax, or Ativan. These benzos might help in the short term, but long-term use? They're like inviting a sneaky thief into your home. They can dull your memory, increase fall risk, and even lead to dependency. And here's the kicker. Studies show seniors on these medications long-term are more likely to develop dementia. My neighbor Frank learned this the hard way. After his wife passed, his doctor prescribed a low-dose benzo for sleep. 5 years later, he was still taking it, and his family noticed he'd become foggy, unsteady on his feet. It took a scary fall down the stairs to finally reevaluate. Thankfully, with his doctor's help, he tapered off safely and found better solutions. So what can you try instead? For sleep, melatonin supplements or a warm bath before bed might help reset your rhythm. For anxiety, cognitive behavioral therapy, yes, even for us seniors, works wonders. And never underestimate the power of a good chat with a friend or a peaceful walk in nature. Sometimes, the best medicine doesn't come in a bottle. Now, these are just the first 2 medications on our list, but they're a great starting point for taking charge of your health. Knowledge is power, and you've already taken a big step by being here today. In our next conversation, we'll explore a few more common medications that might be hiding risks you never suspected, and of course, we'll share practical, safer swaps you can discuss with your doctor. Because you deserve to feel your best, every single day. Until then, why not grab a notebook and jot down any questions for your next checkup? Your future self will thank you. I was just thinking about how our gardens and our bodies thrive when we give them the right kind of care. Too much water? The roots rot. Too little sun? The blooms fade. It's all about balance, isn't it? Well, the same goes for the medications we take. Today, let's dig into a few more that might need a second look so you can keep blooming strong. Medication number 3, anticholinergics, like Benadryl or Amitriptyline. First up, let's talk about a sneaky group of medications that often fly under the radar, anticholinergics. These include common drugs like Benadryl for allergies, some older antidepressants like Amitriptyline, and even certain over-the-counter sleep aids. Now, they might seem harmless. After all, Benadryl's been around forever. But here's the thing, as we age, these medications can stir up trouble. They block a chemical in your brain called acetylcholine, which you need for clear thinking, a steady bladder, and even a healthy heartbeat. Take my cousin Eleanor. She'd been taking Benadryl nightly for years to help her sleep. But over time, she started forgetting names, losing her train of thought. Turns out, long-term use of anticholinergics is linked to a higher risk of dementia. And that's not all, they can cause dry mouth, constipation, and even make your eyes feel like sandpaper. Not exactly a recipe for golden years, right? Here's the good news, safer swaps exist. For allergies, try a nasal steroid spray like Flonase. It targets symptoms without the brain fog. Trouble sleeping? Ask your doctor about melatonin or a weighted blanket. And if you're on an older antidepressant, newer options like sertraline might be gentler on your system. Small tweaks can make a world of difference. Medication number 4, proton pump inhibitors like Nexium or Prilosec. Now, let's chat about something many of us take for heartburn or acid reflux, medications like Nexium or Prilosec. They're called proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs, and they're great at calming that fiery feeling in your chest. But here's the catch, if you've been on them for years, they might be quietly causing harm. Long-term use can lead to brittle bones, magnesium deficiency, and even nasty gut infections. My buddy Carl learned this lesson the hard way. He'd been popping PPIs daily for a decade until a routine scan showed his bones were thinning. But I drink milk every day, he told me. Turns out, PPIs can block calcium absorption, no matter how much dairy you eat. Luckily, his doctor helped him taper off and find better solutions. Here's what you can try instead. For occasional heartburn, antacids like Tums or H2 blockers like Pepcid are safer short-term fixes. But the real magic happens in the kitchen. Eating smaller meals, avoiding spicy foods late at night, and propping up your pillow can work wonders. And if you do need a PPI, stick to the lowest dose for the shortest time. Your bones and your gut will thank you. Medication number 5, muscle relaxants like Flexeril or Soma. Next, let's tackle muscle relaxants, drugs like Flexeril or Soma. They're often prescribed after a strain or injury, and boy, do they make your muscles feel like jelly. But here's the problem, that relaxed feeling comes with risks. These meds can make you dizzy, foggy, and unsteady on your feet. For seniors, that's a recipe for falls, and we all know how dangerous a broken hip can be at our age. Remember my neighbor Louise? She pulled her back gardening last spring and was given a muscle relaxant. Within days, she tripped over her cat and fractured her wrist. I felt like I was walking through molasses, she told me later. Now, she sticks to heat pads and gentle stretches, no pills required. Instead of reaching for a pill, try a warm compress or a soak in Epsom salts. Physical therapy works wonders, too. It strengthens muscles and keeps you mobile. And if pain keeps you up at night, acetaminophen is a safer bet. Your body's built to heal itself, sometimes it just needs a little patience and TLC. Now, we've covered 3 more medications today, anticholinergics, PPIs, and muscle relaxants, but don't worry, we're not done yet. In our final chat, I'll share a couple more that might surprise you, along with simple, everyday steps to keep you feeling spry and sharp. Until then, why not take a stroll around your own garden or living room and think about one small change you could make today? Your future self is rooting for you. Welcome back. There's nothing like a simmering pot of soup to remind us that good things take time, and so does taking care of our health. Today, we're wrapping up our chat about medications to rethink as we age. Let's get straight to it, because knowledge like this is best served warm. Medication number 6, certain diabetes drugs, like glyburide. First up, let's talk about a medication many seniors with type 2 diabetes might be familiar with, glyburide. Now, managing blood sugar is crucial, but some drugs can be too heavy-handed as we age. Glyburide, for instance, works by pushing the pancreas to make more insulin. Sounds good, right? Well, here's the rub. It can sometimes work too well, leading to dangerously low blood sugar. And for seniors, a sudden drop can mean dizziness, falls, or even confusion that's mistaken for dementia. My friend Harold found this out the hard way. He'd been on glyburide for years, but last winter, he started having shaky spells and night sweats. His wife thought he was coming down with the flu. Turns out, his blood sugar was plummeting overnight. Thankfully, his doctor switched him to a safer option, and those scary episodes vanished. So what's the alternative? Medications like metformin are often gentler and have a lower risk of hypoglycemia. And never underestimate the power of small diet tweaks, like swapping white bread for whole grains or adding a walk after meals. It's not about deprivation, it's about working with your body, not against it. Medication number 7, antipsychotics, like Seroquel or Haldol. Now, let's address a group of medications that's often prescribed for reasons you might not expect, antipsychotics like Seroquel or Haldol. These are sometimes given to seniors with dementia to manage agitation or aggression. But here's the truth, they're like using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut. Studies show they can increase the risk of strokes, falls, and even premature death in older adults with dementia. Plus, they often leave people feeling like shadows of themselves, drowsy, disconnected, and not quite there. My Aunt Clara's story still haunts me. After her Alzheimer's diagnosis, a well-meaning doctor prescribed an antipsychotic to calm her restlessness. But instead of helping, it made her listless and frail. It wasn't until her daughter pushed for other options, like music therapy and a consistent daily routine, that Clara's spark came back. She still had bad days, but she also had moments of joy, connection, life. If someone you love is on these medications, ask, is this absolutely necessary? Are there non-drug approaches we haven't tried? Simple changes, like calming music, soothing lighting, or even pet therapy, can work miracles. And if medication is needed, insist on the lowest dose for the shortest time. Dignity matters, right up to the very end. You know, when I started this series, I kept thinking about my dad. He used to say, getting old isn't for the faint of heart. But he also believed in asking questions, staying curious, and never settling for good enough when it comes to health. And that's what this is all about. We've covered 7 medications today, from painkillers to antipsychotics, but the real takeaway? You deserve to understand every pill you take. You deserve to feel heard by your doctors. And you absolutely deserve to thrive, not just survive, in these later years. So here's my challenge to you. Grab that medication list from your cabinet and book a medication review appointment with your doctor. Bring a loved one if you'd like an extra set of ears. And remember, you're not being difficult by asking questions. You're being wise. Small steps today can lead to big leaps in how you feel tomorrow. Before I go, I'd love to hear from you. Have you or someone you love made a medication switch that changed everything? Share your story in the comments, we can all learn from each other. And if this video resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe. We're building a community here, a place where wisdom meets warmth and no one has to navigate aging alone. Here's to your health, your strength, and the courage to keep asking, is there a better way? Cheers, my friend. Until next time, keep shining.